Hello guys, good morning and welcome to the demo session for Power Apps and Power Automate from Vashishta IT Technologies. So let me share my screen in a moment. Let me know anyone, please confirm me whether I am properly audible and my screen is visible to everyone. Yeah, anyone can please confirm? Yeah, it's visible, right? Thank you, Krishna. Great. So, yeah. So, yeah, as we know the agenda, so today we are going to discuss regarding the Power Apps or the Power Platform components. What are the components of the Power Platform? And we'll see the components, Power Apps and Power Automate as a part of demo. What we can do and what all we can do and what are the things we need to keep in mind before we are going to start, and do we need any prerequisites for the learning or to start our journey into this Power Platform or Power Apps or Power Automate. So we'll see one by one. Before that, myself Somnath, I am presently working as a Power Platform engineer with one of the healthcare US healthcare company. So I totally holds 6 years of experience in this Power Platform, and I hope this is a little intro regarding me. And yeah, before starting, anyone have any questions or queries regarding audio or screen? Please let me know. I hope everyone is having good visibility to my screen and the audio too. So let's start. Let's start a little overview or intro regarding the Power Platform. Then we'll move to these components like Power Apps and Power Automate. So basically, coming to the now it's fine. One moment, guys. Is it fine now, Krishna? Great. So yeah, as a Power Platform, so Power Platform is basically combination of four products and three features. So those products are Microsoft Power BI and Power Apps and Power Automate and Virtual Agents. Coming to the features, we are having connectors and AI builders and CDS or common data service or Dataverse. So now in recent days, it's renamed as Dataverse, but earlier it used to call as common data service. Okay. So basically, as most of you are aware, from past 3 or 4 years, Power BI is a trending tool in the market. Anyone is looking into the IT, or anyone is having any knowledge in the IT industry is might aware of these Power BI. So Power BI is a business intelligence or data analytics tool, which is popular tool from past 4 or 5 years in the market. So most of the companies or organizations are adapted to Power BI, and the Power Apps is a new or a newbie in the market. So it's from past 3.5 years. It's came into the production environments. Earlier, it was the beta version we are having. and Power Automate 2. So these three, the Power Automate and apps and virtual agents, are newbies in the environment. Okay, so the Power Apps is basically, the name itself indicates. So it's a application development platform, or a platform as a service. So mostly we heard of these three terms, right? So in IT industry, sorry, yeah, let me type here. So we'll come across these PaaS, infrastructure as service, IaaS, and platform as service, and SaaS, so software as service. So most of the times you might see some of the applications will be either fall under PaaS or SaaS or IaaS, or infrastructure as a service. So basically, platform as a service is a kind of environment or the application which is provided by the organizations to give a platform to develop a particular set of requirements, or to develop a kind of applications, or a tools, or dashboards, or reports, or anything in a service. So let me take the scenario of the Power Apps or Power BI. So Power BI and Power Apps and Power Automate, these three are platform as a service. So Microsoft is going to provide our platform, so where we'll be having different set of options, or the different set of components, I can say, which we are going to use it or leverage those components. So we are no need to write any coding. So the component inherently have the coding, or it in the background, Microsoft will create the coding to get the desired output. So it is going to give us as an options, or a simple kind of English language, or functions, I can say. So in that way they are going to develop a back-end programming, so which the well, whoever going to develop the application or dashboard no need to have any knowledge on the any kind of computer language or codes or coding, C, C++, or Java or Python. So no need to write .NET or any language from the developer end. So developer or the application engineer who is going to work is going to leverage that platform, and he's going to use those components or whatever the existing components to develop his desired application or the reports. So infrastructure as a service, so basically we can take it for the Azure or AWS or GCP. So these kind of database infrastructures, they will give as an infrastructure. So there also we are having PaaS and SaaS and infrastructure services. So sorry, sorry. Venki, do you have any question? Okay. So at the same time, we are having SaaS also, software as a service. Basically, we are going to get an end product from the provider itself. So we are going to use it as an end consumer. So, for example, we can take it as the Excel, or the um, I can say Word. So we are having the end user environment or infrastructure in the SaaS. So software as a service, basically the end to end, the background process or the development or everything will be made by the provider itself. So coming to these Power Platform, it's a PaaS service or a platform as a service. So in the platform, we are going to have the four different products or the Microsoft Power Platform. So it's a low code platform. We can leverage the 365 or Office 365, Azure or Dynamic 365. So different types of connectors we are having. So we can integrate with the Teams. We can integrate with most of the Microsoft applications. So most all Microsoft applications having the connecting environment here to communicate with each other, or communicate with one platform to another platform, or one product to another product. So, our main agenda today is to discuss regarding the Power Apps and Power Automate, and what are the capabilities of Apps and Power Automate. At the same time, we are going to discuss, do we need any prerequisites to learn Power Apps or Power Automate, and also we'll see a little intro regarding the UI, and we'll see how easy it is to develop an application in the Power Apps, and we'll see one after other. So as we discussed, Power Apps is a low code or no code platform for the building of application. So basically, I'll provide. Okay. So basically, application. So what we can call as an application. For example, uh, we all know, like for example, we are going through the different applications in our day-to-day life. For example, the Gmail or the Zoom application, which we are going to use it for the conducting of meetings, and at the same time we are using different applications in our day-to-day life, Facebook, Instagram, or we are using phone pay, Google Pay, or different types of applications. So what application is basically providing is, so it is providing a user interface. At the same time, it is integrated within database to store the data and to fetch the data, to write or read the data. So for example, if you are taking uh, simple infrastructure of Gmail or any mail service, so what it is going to provide, it is going to provide an API integration, or the integration with the Gmail API, or the Google Mail Service API, where we can write an email, and also we can read our emails or view our emails. So we can manage our inboxes or different uh, existing folders in that particular uh, Google mailbox, or the Gmail. So instead of going to the web or web link, so we are directly going to have it from the our mobile itself. So we are having it as a mobile version, so where we are going to, like, we are not going to type any Gmail or anything. So it's in the background, it is going to hit that API or different APIs to get the different responses from that API, and it is giving the response within fraction of seconds, or within a moment. So where we are going to experience the simple, when you need to, for example, if I need to write an email, so no need to type www.gmail.com slash or forward slash create an email. So I'm not going to type any of these web links, or the APIs, or I'm not giving any particular web address here. So it is going to, when I'm going to click on particular create link, it is going to hit that particular API link or the web link in the background. It is designed in that scenario or in that way to get the response from that particular API, and it is going to give it as a UI, or the user interface, where we can do it with our basic English language. No need to remember any backend web address or the API. So in the same way, we can build in different types of applications here. But for example, if we are going to take a application which is developed on a platform of .NET, or maybe on a Java, so you need to write or know, or you need to be very good at Java or the .NET or Python, or any of the front end tool, Vue.js or React.js. So you need to have you need to learn a lot. So for the front end and back end, you need to know different types of databases, or the, for example, if your organization or application is using a SQL database or NoSQL like MongoDB or anything. So you need to get or you need to understand those different set of languages or the coding mechanisms, I can say. So where then only you can develop an application. So here in the Power Apps, no need to learn any coding language or no need to learn any database or no need to learn any APIs. So we are going to have everything in the Power Apps platform. So it's already written. So we'll be having the different set of option. You need to select the particular option. For example, if you need to set up a search icon, so let me log in and open it for you so that we can. So for the so to open the development environment, so it's a cloud based or the you like we are not going to have any particular standalone application or the desktop application for this development. So earlier we used to have, but Microsoft removed that. So now we are having a cloud-based infrastructure here or a platform here. So you need to type make.powerapps.com where you will get a response from here. So it's the designer or the studio, Power App Studio we are going to use. So earlier, 2 years prior, we are having the studio desktop version also. We used to download and develop the things, but now everything was taken back or was designed in the cloud base or uh, platform moved to cloud only. So we are using it from the cloud. So you need to type make.powerapps.com. So it will ask for the login if you have not logged in. So we'll provide the credentials once we start the classes. But actually I have logged in. So let me open a blank application. So where we can create, I'm giving ABC. So we can see like how it is easy if we need to set up some or how easily we can leverage the components to design an application. So I'm going to demo in a very high level at a very high level. So this is a canvas application which I'm going to do it from the scratch, or I can say it's a blank application. So we'll be having different types of components here. For example, if I need to give a text input, for example, I'm going to set up a login screen. So let me take up, let me insert. So I need to give a text input over here. So I am going to create a login screen where user needs to enter the login credentials. So his username and at the same time his password. So I can give simply two text boxes or text inputs. So which will allow user to enter the data. And if I want to mention it as a I need to mention it as a username and password, or else user will confuse like where he needs to enter the things. So I'm going to simply give it a text label over here, and at the same time another text label over here, so that I can simply give or I can notate here that you need to enter the password or you need to enter the username. So let me give it as username. So I'm making it a very simple kind of infrastructure. So we are going to see it at uh, very advanced level from the basic. So I'm going to give it as a password. So let me preview it. So what user can do? So user cannot edit this one or cannot edit this one because it's a readable or the text display only. Like we are displaying whatever we are given from the developer end. So what user can do is user can enter here. So I'm giving default as a text input, but you can modify anything instead of text input. So if I'm giving some somnath123 at the rate gmail.com, so this is going to be my username, and this is going to be my password. So we can hide the passwords, or we can make it as a stars and any, like everything we can make it. And if I want to click set up a submit button to get the data or to validate the data from our database, so our login credentials will be stored in a table where we are going to validate the data. Or maybe it's an Azure or AD based login mechanism if we are using, so we might authenticate it from the AD, so our Azure Active Directory. So based on the kind of login mechanism we are going to develop, we'll patch that data which user is entering, and we'll validate the data. If everything goes success, then we'll move to the other screen or the next screen which we are going to use or display different types of UI, which for the user experience based on his permissions he is having and everything. So we are going to display those things. So this very much easy. We are not writing any code to display or enter the data. So we are simply picking a object or a item we are inserting on the screen. Simple, right? So in this fashion or in this manner, we can create an application. So we are not writing any code. Simply we are using some formulas to direct it, and most of the things were we are directly having. For example, if I want to edit thing, so you're simply having here, so you no need to write anything in this double quotes. If you are mentioning something, means it's an hard coded or static text. So if you want to change the size or font, everything will be given here. Most of the or 60% of the things for the basic development. For the advanced things, we need to learn, like we need to set up the functions. For example, we need to set up an action when you are selecting this particular button or particular text. So do we need to redirect to anywhere? Do we need to fetch, or do we need to validate from the database, or do we need to validate from the Azure Active Directory users? So what kind of action do we need to do? So if we are not having any action, we are setting it up as a false. So in this way, we are going to learn like where we need to set false, where we need to set true, and what are the navigation things, like how we can navigate from one screen to another screen, or different things, or how we can patch with the database or update, or how we can perform CRUD operations like create, replace, and update and delete. How we can perform these CRUD operations and everything we are going to see in the course. I think it's a very early to discuss that much detailing, but yeah, we can do these sort of operations without knowing any code. So we are simply going to use the functions and power effects formulas to achieve whatever the desired results we are going to we are expecting. Okay, any questions? Okay, great. So yeah, we are going to work with data where it lives, what it means. So usually what I told before, let me open one more screen. Okay, so what I told to you is, so if you are developing an application with the help of any programming language, you need to have either NoSQL or SQL DBs. So you need to have a good understanding of any of the database. So database is an area like if you are seeing an application, means you are not going to store the data in that application. So that application is going to have the cache memory, that's it. So it is not going to store the memory in the application itself. So you are going to use an API or a integration between the database to the UI which you are having. So you need to develop a code where whatever the data user is entering, once he is going to click on save or update or delete, it is going to be as it is modified or updated or deleted or created in the database. So you are not writing, or the user is not mentioning any operation, but the backend code was written to get or insert the records in the SQL DB to store that particular information or the forms which we are going to use. But most of the time, so what Microsoft thought is, we are developing a low code or no code mechanism for the development of application. Then why do we need to have only restriction, or why do we need to have a restriction of DB? Why can't we make it the DB also as a no code or low code? Then they came up with a concept of called CDS, common data service, or the dataverse. So CDS or the dataverse is a platform or a component which we are having in the Power Platform. So we can use it for the Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, virtual agents. So we can use it for the any of the product. So which here you can create the database without having a knowledge of SQL or anything. Sorry. So let me go to the tables. So you have not created any database. So if I want to create a database, simply you need to give the currency and the language. You can go to, you can go here and create a database. So I have created a database. So as it's a new account, I have not set it up anything. So it's taking some time to load the database. Let me create a database. Okay, sorry. I have not created the environment too. So basically, the default environment will not allow. So we'll see what are the environments we are having, like the production or different environments. Okay, so we need to create an environment first. But yeah, here we are having a concept called Dataverse, where we can create a table or the different set of databases with the clicks or the options which we did it in the Power App. So in the same fashion or same manner, we are having here also. Okay, so yeah, let us discuss that in the next classes, as it will take some time to create an environment and then the database. But yeah, we are having a database also here, or the database component here, where you need not to have any knowledge on the SQL or the NoSQL DBs or any of the database. You can simply get it with the help of simple functions or the UI itself, the GUI itself. So it's a Azure based, as you know, it's a cloud based, means you are having a great performance. So Azure Gen 2 Lake storage, where it is used in the backend. So we'll be having three different types of Power Apps. One is Canvas apps, and the other one is model driven, and the portal. So these three are the three different approaches, I can say, for development and application. So Canvas is a kind of approach where we are having more UI interface, or more customization in the UI interface. Coming to the model driven, it's basically a solution oriented or the process driven application. So we are having a limited control over the UI, but in the Canvas you can do more with the UI. You can do more customizations in the UI, and at the same time Canvas will be little slower compared to the model driven. When you're having a huge kind of forms, or huge kind of structures, or huge kind of backend logics you're having, or the business logics, then the model driven approach would be better. But yeah, coming to the design part, we'll be having some constraints or the limitations in the UI design for the model driven. We'll see what are the different possibilities or approaches where we can go with the model driven or Canvas. And portals is basically to design a website, I can say. So Canvas and model is to design a web based application, or the tablet based, or multi device. So it's a platform independent. You can use it for the multi device also, like you can use it in the tablet, you can use it in the web or web application. You can use it as, you can use it as a mobile application also. So it's a platform independent, so you can use it in any OS. You can use it in the Linux, you can use it in the Chrome OS, you can use it in the Mac, and you can use it in the Windows. So you are not having any particular platform dependency, as it's a API based platform service, so you'll not have any platform dependency over here. And at the same time, you can add the artificial intelligence to your application without any coding. For example, in my application, so if I can automate the things. For example, I am getting a different business cards, or I am getting different visiting cards, which I am getting in my front office. So I am uh, having a set of corporate organization where I will get different business cards or the visiting cards from different set of users or the clients. I need to store all this business information in particular database. So where earlier, if in this business scenario, I need to appoint different data entry users, or different sorry, data entry employees, where they are going to type the data manually from their end by looking at the business cards or the visiting cards. But what we can do is, with the help of artificial intelligence and the power apps, we can integrate these two, and we can implement a OCR, optical character recognition mechanism, where you need to set up a scanning, or simply you can take a photo of particular business card, or you can upload a photo of particular business card. Automatically it will read the characters. If we are going to set up a language as a English, for example, we are having all our business cards in English, then it will read those language, and it will store according to the uh, according to the approach or the model we have defined. So in that way, we can integrate artificial intelligence or machine learning models also. We can train this, and we can automate the process. So with that, we can eliminate the manpower which we are spending. So we can do it with the, for example, earlier if we are spending 5 or 10 resources on the particular data entry, we can minimize it to one, or we can place a direct kind of uh, scanner outside. Then the user or client, whoever visiting our organization, he can simply scan and go, like no need to keep a visiting card also. So he can scan and go, the entries will be made into the database automatically. So we can automate in this fashion to avoid or reduce manpower. Okay, any questions? Great. So you can design a website also, or mobile application or web based application. So you can give a role based application also. For example, let me take a simple scenario. So you might have came across the leave application mechanism, or the asset management mechanism. So let us take a simple mechanism, the leave management application. So where your manager, so you are going to apply different types of leaves, your manager is going to approve that leave. So you need to set up, or the application need to have two set of environments. So based on the role based thing, we are going to display different things. For example, if I am a manager, I can see, or I can see the approval mechanism, where I can approve the leave and store it into, or the data will be stored into the database. If I am a user or an employee, I can apply for a leave, then I cannot see, or I shouldn't see any mechanism to approve the leave, right? So in this fashion, we need to set up two set of uh, mechanisms, or I can say two set of models in that particular application, based on a role. If the particular user is a manager, then the infrastructure, so the UI or the user infrastructure will be different. And if he is an employee, then UI would be different. So we are going to set up those kind of different set of UIs for different roles from different databases also. For example, if my organization is already using the Azure and also one on-prem data sources for the maintaining of employees, so one other database I am using it for the asset checkout. For example, I am having or I am corporated with the tablet and packet like HP to supply different assets for my IT services, or the computer peripherals for my IT services. So I am using or I am leveraging the database from the HP. I am leveraging it from the API. So what are the available products or the assigned products from for my organization, and at the same time, I am having the employee information in my organization database, which I am storing in on-prem or in my organizational server. So where I need to integrate these two different set of backend database, which is also possible in the Power Apps. So we can, as we discussed, we can generate different model driven approaches for different set of business rules or business logics or business process, which we have seen as a one of the example for uh, getting or creating a OCR for particular business card or visiting card reading mechanism. So yeah, as we discussed, it's a platform independent. We can use it in any platform. We can use it in the mobile, or we can embed it in other website also. For example, if we are having a website, we want to embed that existing application into that website. We can embed that application. We can use it as a standalone in any device, mobile or web or tablet. Okay. So yeah, these are the things which we already discussed. We can build from blank canvas, means no need to have any model approach or the business logics priorly decide. So we can set it up in the database also. We can have more customization in the UI side. So you can choose the screen size, tablet or mobile. You can add the data source, and you can simply drag and drop as we did. So this is a canvas driven approach or canvas approach. We are going to drag and drop the things, and we are going to use the Excel kind of functionality formulas or the Power FX formulas to achieve the desired result. But coming to the model driven approach, we are going to use only the CDS or the dataverse. Will not have any option to use the other connectors or the database. So we'll be design the approach first or the model first, then the UI will be automatically uh, get out of the business results. So we'll have limited customizations on the uh, model driven site. So we can use the portals also for building any external websites and all, or web applications, or sorry, websites. Okay, any questions still here? All right, great. Yeah, the benefits. So as you know, the IT is growing more and more, and most of the guys earlier, if you observe, earlier if you go to a fancy restaurant or a restaurant, we used to have waiters and servers. So we'll be having different set of people, I can say. So one is going to take your order, other one is going to take your or serve you the food. But in the recent times, if you observe, so most of or some of the restaurants were opted for the ordering through QR. So they are going to place QR or a tablet on your table, so you can order it on your own. So where they are eliminating the this waiter mechanism. So where they are going to take the orders, so the server will directly come and serve you the food. So these guys are going to leverage the IT infrastructure to reduce the manpower. So in that way, so you can see, this is a very simple example which we are seeing in a day-to-day life as how IT is growing. So in the same way, the developers or the experts are not growing. If you need to have an application to be developed, then you need to have a team of developers who are having a good knowledge in the different technologies, and they need to spend their 6 to 7 months on a on particular project to develop or to build application. They need to integrate, and they need to have a pipelines to be run. They need to test, and they need to run the codes, and they need to do the sonar testing, so they need to do the code QL. So there will be lot of things we need to make it, as you are doing code on your own, so we need to optimize the code. So there will be a lot and lot to get the desired output, and it will take around 6 to 7 months, or based on the application capacity also, I can say. But here also, the training process or the learning curve for this particular development cycle is very high. So you need to have around 2 to 3 years of good experience, or a good hands-on experience, then only you will be able to start the development. And most of the cases, 4 or 5 years is the ideal experience, I can say, to go for a development of application or website. But coming to the growing culture, we are not going to solve the demand. So that's why Microsoft came up with this kind of platform, where anyone, so or most of non-IT background or non-computer science background people also can do the application development or website development or automation, or the RPA, I can say, robotic process automation, which you are hearing, or I can say which you might have heard from most of the guys from past 3 or 4 years. So RPA is booming up now. You like, most of us, we discussed these kind of OCR farms or data entry jobs are going to go away, or manpower is going to be reduced in that particular regular task, or I can say daily task, which will be automated with the help of RPA. So Power Automate is also one kind of RPA from the Microsoft Corporation. So as we discussed, so we are going to have all this culture, or all this development culture within a very less span, as we are not going to write any background code or complex code or code, like you are not going to do any like code QLs, or like code testing, or code modifications or code optimization. So everything will be already written in the back end, so no need to spend the time over there. And also, you can simply learn, as it's a very basic formulas, or I can say functions. Anyone can simply learn, even a non-IT or the non-computer science guy can learn, and he can start the development within, like the average time would be 6 months. If he is in the correct place or correct environment, within 6 months he can be pro on individual. He can develop an application or website on his own, like without any uh, support from the other folks or the seniors. And at the same time, the manpower also will be reduced. So when you're writing a code, means you need to have a tester, you need to test the code. So the also you need to like buy different softwares, and also you need to have the integrators to do the integration. So the approach would be more costlier than this approach. So that's why most of the organizations are shifting towards the low code platforms, where if they are having a developer, then he can handle or take care of most of the things. So he can develop the things, and at the same time, the guys are looking for the developers, or the like engineers who are having a knowledge on the Power Platform. Like he, if he is having a requirement in the Power BI, he can do. If he needs to automate a process, for example, if I, so I'll explain like how Power Automate we can leverage in a simple scenario. But yeah, in that fashion, it's growing in a very rapid manner. So you can see, so as we all know, this is a recession time. But yeah, if you observe in the Naukari or any job portal, you can see plenty of calls for these power platform or power apps or power automate engineers. So if you type the other technologies, then you might see very less calls or no calls in that particular technologies. So that is a very good example I can say. So in the recession time or in a bad times also, if you are getting a good calls, then you can understand how it booming in the market. Okay, so this is the thing regarding the power apps and what are the possibilities or the things and prerequisites. So I hope I covered as an overview. This is not a detailed view as we discussed. Yeah, we'll be having around 20 plus days to cover it in a detail. But yeah, I hope it's a clear as an introduction I can say. Like you now, I hope everyone will understand like what is the power apps and what we can achieve, and do we need to learn anything like do we need to have any prerequisites, and what are the advantages and why it is booming up. Mainly if it is having a good advantages, then only it will boom up, right? So what are the advantages and how it is going to be, like what kind of knowledge we need to have, and what kind of structure it is going to be, or what kind of development we are going to do in coming days. I hope everyone got it. Any questions still here? No, right? Great. I hope, yeah, it's already 1 hour, but yeah, as because of the technical issue, we started little late. So I'll not eat up much of your time. I'll try to wrap it up in 10 minutes, and uh, I'll not cover the Power BI today. So we'll see the Power BI as I have put some slides to understand or to give intro about Power BI. But yeah, we can see in the coming class also. If you are interested, you can learn the Power BI also. But I'll give a little brief regarding the Power Automate, and I'll wrap it up in 5 minutes. Okay. So what we can do, Power Automate or Power Flows. So most of the time you might have heard, or if you are hearing for the first time, it's a process automation tool or the automation tool from the Microsoft, where we are going to automate our day-to-day tasks, our day-to-day business applications, our day-to-day business processes, which you are using for the different services or different applications also. For example, let me take a simple scenario. For example, if you are getting an email from a client, then you need to uh, download a thing. For example, I am having two mechanisms. So my client is uploading his data, Excel sheets in OneDrive. I want to, or SharePoint, anywhere, any sharing mechanism he is uploading. Then whenever the user finalize the document or the data, I need to download the data and I need to dump the data into database. So for this, what the basic approach would be, I need to go to the OneDrive or SharePoint. I need to download that particular file or the Excel sheet or CSV. I need to dump that, download it into my local. Then I need to dump or ingest that with the help of any ingestion tool or anything into the particular database. So this is the basic or regular approach which we used to do. But the thing here is, for example, it's a monthly process or weekly process, then nothing issue. But if you, the client is uploading the forms on a day basis or hourly basis, or for example, or uh, for 8 hours he is uploading, or for 4 hours he is uploading a file, means one need to be taken care of the things. Or if he's doing it for the 24 hours, then 24 hours we need to have three guys who can work in three shift, and he need to be do that thing. So which is a very routine or regular process. Simply we are downloading and ingesting. So which we can do, or which we can automate with the help of Power Automate. So we can integrate whenever we are going to get an email from the client. Simply we can write a procedure, or we can write a process or flow in the Power Automate, where it will pick up the file and it is going to ingest or dump into that particular database. In the same fashion, if you are getting an email, so you need to get an approval, or you need to, for example, if leave is, as we seen the leave mechanism, if employee is applying for any leave, so you need to be notified in that particular event. So event is happening, or it is the one of the event is created from the employee end. So we need to take an action, or we need to send a notification to the concerned manager. Then that also can be do like done with the help of Power Automate. So these kind of task we can do. So we can grant the approvals, automated approvals, if certain conditions are meeting. So we can set up a things, for example, if success message we are going to get, then we can do this sort of operation. If we are getting a failure message from particular database or ingestion or anything, so then we can do this process. So we can do that kind of yes or no mechanism or flowchart mechanisms also. We can set up the triggers and actions, and based on an event, so we can set up the cloud flows and event flows, event based flows and schedule flows and everything. So we can integrate with any Microsoft application to automate the thing. Okay, and non Microsoft also. So I hope it's clear. So before wrapping up, anyone having any questions or queries or concerns? Yeah, I think it's a little uh, because of the time constraint to cover up most of the things or to give an intro regarding everything. So I went little faster, as a 1 hour is little lower time, I can say, to cover up intro regarding all the things. And I'm taking it as a basic level, like as I started from very non IT or non computer science background thing. So I started from very basic level, so that's why I took more time, and it's going to be like little faster. But yeah, the classes will be very slower than this. We are going to see in a detailed way, and we are going to see the concept wise. And my approach would be, we'll see the basics, and we'll take it up 2 or 3 projects. Based on the projects, or I can say 2 or 3 applications, so we'll develop one with the data sets. Based on the data set, how we can create an application. Based on, like, without any data set, how we can create a canvas application. And based on the model, how we can create a model driven application, and how we can do the automation uh, of task, or how we can integrate the Power Automate with the Power Apps and data was also, we'll see. So our approach would be based on the scenarios, or the application oriented or application development. Like, we are not going to cover up like this and filter, we can set up a filter like this and patch function, we can set up a patch function like this. So we are not going to do, or we are not going to cover up in that application. We have to learn SharePoint also. Like, it's a not necessary one. I'll cover up SharePoint as a data source. So I'll create, like, I'll so SharePoint, earlier we are having differently. So now they have moved the SharePoint database to SharePoint forms. So we will see an approach or application with the help of SharePoint also. So I'll cover up so SharePoint also very easy. Like, we are not going to do the development, like web development or SharePoint administration, but we'll cover up how we can create, or how we can use it as a data source. uh, SharePoint as a data source. So if you are having a SharePoint knowledge, then that's a good, or it will weight up your resume. But yeah, if you are not having also, we are going to cover up the basics, how we can create a list in the SharePoint, how we can create a forms, and what are the different approaches we are having in the SharePoint. And those things will cover up in the course itself. And we'll also see an application based out of a SharePoint list. Yeah, any other questions? I believe Power Apps with the help with the application development, we are going to cover up it in the 20 hours. So I cannot say like the Power Automate is a separate, or we are not going to do it separately, as it's a not non-separated one. So the approach would be, we are going to integrate the Power Automate with the Power App. So we are going to cover up the Power Automate specifically in 5 to 6 classes. Also we are going to integrate and like we will discuss Power Apps and Power Automate together uh, in that particular process. Yeah, I cannot segregate two, but around it will take 30 hours in total, the Power Apps and Power Automate. So around 5 or 6 hours dedicated to the Power Automate, and the 20 hours to the Power Apps. And the project which we are going to see, or the application, I can say the project is a bigger word, I can say. The application which we are going to see with the integration would be around 5 to 6 hours. Any other questions? Great. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day. And reach out to admin team regarding any questions regarding fee and batch timings, and when it going to start and everything. And yeah, if you need a recording, reach out to the admin team. They'll licensing. Do we need to Microsoft learn? Yeah, I'll provide the 365 license, which comes up with the SharePoint and uh, Power Apps and Automate, also the Power BI if needed. So you'll be having the Outlook and everything. So it's a whole and soul 365 license I'll provide. So where you can do the practicing, and also I'll provide the lab exercise from the Microsoft. So I have attended long back for the Microsoft training, and I have did certification also. So we got some resource from the Microsoft to do the practices. So I'll provide that lab exercise also, where you can do the practice for those particular set of events or particular. So you will be doing it on your own. So one of the application from, or one of the business case, I can say, not the application. So business case you are going to write it. So everything I have noted in a detailed format. So then you'll get a detailed approach for this, how you can, or how you need to approach a problem statement, how you can develop an application or a process to resolve that statement.